Ladies and gentlemen, esports fans around the world, welcome back to MSI 2021. My name is Captain Flowers. I'm going to be bringing you through the next 3 games here with my buddy Kobe. And man, Kobe, I am excited to be getting into it.
So am I. Oh my goodness. I got hyped for the first game of the day. You know, Cloud9 going versus Dom1. It was really close. We've already seen a lot of the big playmakers as far as champion changes too. That people have been looking forward to. You know, jungle focus for me always. You know, there's been a lot of these speed clearing additions to it. The Rumble was on stage here by RNG just recently. Morgana got to get her showcase as well with the speed of these clears. You know, and the AP threats coming out. I'm really excited to see now into this next game here. Unicorns of Love and Pentanet GG. This is a very important game because Pentanet just lost to RNG. It's expected in this group, both of these teams are going to be taking losses to RNG, though. Yeah. They're very, very difficult opponent there, and where they have to make their ground up is against each other. So this is going to be one of the big rivalries for MSI to see who's going to be able to move on out of this group.
Right, and for those who might not fully understand the stakes of this head-to-head, recall that in this first group stage, all 3 groups were intended to have 4 teams. However, because Vietnam was not able to attend MSI, that means this group only has 3 teams. 2 of them get to go through, and I don't think a single viewer out there that's not trolling and or maybe sleep deprived would put RNG as the team that's not getting out of the group. So this head-to-head means a lot. Pentanet and Unicorns of Love are both going to have to bring their A game every single time they go head-to-head. Because if you're dropping games to RNG and that's the expectation, it's all about this matchup.
It certainly is. And we just got to see, you know, kind of the warm-up game there for Pentanet. Pabu, they talked a lot about him in the previous matchup. He is definitely one of the ones that's looking to bring out more unique things. My fingers are crossed that he actually goes with Fiddlesticks again, because I've been spamming it, and I really want to talk about Fiddlesticks. But from the other side, this is Unicorn's first game here at MSI, and we have to go over some changes for them from Worlds. We have some time here, so it's a perfect opportunity to talk about the biggest loss to my heart here, Gadget. I just loved Gadget so much. Last year at Worlds, he provided them with AP flexes for the bottom lane. He allowed Nomanz to have, you know, surprise Kassadin picks with early Oriannas, then swapping it to the bottom side. But on top of his flexibility, I thought Gadget also just performed extremely well as an individual player at Worlds for this team last year. So to me, I was kind of heartbroken to hear about you know, the change on the lineup. They initially went with Frappy, the French AD carry, to try and change around this team, and yet they ran into some communication issues with it. You know, previously the team all communicated in Russian, and so then just recently, you know, they bring back Lodik, a longtime AD carry in the Russian scene, gets to make his return. He actually had just taken a break from League of Legends as a whole as well, but they thought, you know, bringing him in and returning to a full Russian communication style was actually a benefit to all of the rest of the players and the team overall, even though, you know, Lodik coming back off the bench isn't this, you know, like dominate lane, super hyper carry for the team. He's been really solid for them and has shored up their coordination as well.
Yeah, coordination so important when you're getting into these bigger stages and playing against these tougher teams. Worth noting about Lodik, although he might not have the most impressive laning stats in the world, he's also got a low game count compared to a lot of the other AD carries here at the tournament, just because of the fact of what you're talking about. They ran into issues with the other AD carry, had to swap over to Lodik. Now he's getting in there. Now he's getting more experience with this team. And when I was looking over some of the stats for the Unicorns, Kobe, one thing that I saw that stood out, this is a team that has a lot of early kills and deaths. When the Unicorns of Love are on Summoner's Rift, it is about time for some PvP, my friend.
And let me tell you where that PvP is going to take place. It is among your favorites, AHaHaCiK and Nomanz. These two are best in class for their positions for the Unicorns here. I honestly, there's going to be a big magnifying glass for this entire tournament for all of the mid-jungle pairings. This is one of the most important important pairings right now, but especially for this team. These are the two all-stars for this squad. Very, very aggressive combination. Nomanz is one of the biggest carries, that we have attending here. We've had, highlight reels of his Kai'Sa specifically. The Analysts was talking about what other picks is he going to flex into. This year he did at least have the one Lucian game, so a little bit of the AD possibilities coming up for him. AHaHaCiK has always been such a big playmaker for them as well, and I expect him to be concentrating on the top triangle of the map, bouncing between Nomanz and Boss in the top lane to try and get that area in their favor first, control the Rift Herald there and use that influx of early gold and carry potential for their solo laners to try and take over the game.
And one thing I'm going to be looking at with Pentanet in this matchup between these two, you already mentioned how they just played their warm-up game, which was not the greatest warm-up. They definitely felt the wrath of RNG in that one. So what I'm looking for this team here is to be able to recognize, hey, that's a game you went into. It's an expected loss, and now it's time to go up against the guys that everyone looks at you and says, okay, these are the squad that we want to see if you can really take them down. Worth noting, though, I think that Pentanet.GG is the kind of team to not really have to worry about their morale. They seem like a bunch of dudes who are here to have a good time, to play the best League of Legends they can. The song choice thing on Twitter, for those of y'all that did not see this or might not have noticed this, the song choice that they chose as their anthem earlier, Azael tweeted about it, and I was just cracking up at this. What was, Kobe, do you remember the name of the song? I know it was something about going home. We going home, or something along those lines. I was just completely, this is the kind of attitude I want to see these guys have. They're embracing the memes. They're having a good time with it. When you got Pabu on your team, how can you not?
Yeah, I mean, we have a long time here trying to get into some of the games with some of the issues here. But you can see, even during these extended downtimes, they're having fun as well. As much as they can make fun of themselves, they also there throwing up a little trash talk against unicorns, using their whiteboards. I guess these little whiteboards are for like, little notes or maybe draft communication when the comms are filled there, but calling out some unicorns of a loss there for themselves. They know that this is going to be we already mentioned for this group, they have more repeat matches because of the fact that, Vietnam could not attend, and we have an open spot here. It's going to be actually 3 rematches here for these two teams.
Right.
Not just the double round robin. And so they know there's going to be a long battle against specifically the unicorns. And they're trying to keep their spirits up here while the technical issues are getting solved and we can try and get into the game.
And it's funny the way that works with it being a triple
round robin.
Yeah, a triple round robin here between these two, because that means if things go all according to expectation and both of these teams drop all their games to RNG, then technically, Kobe, we've just got a really long best of 3 to play between these two to figure out who gets the other spot making it out of this group. And I know there's a lot of people that hate me phrasing it like that, and I'm going to get angry messages on Twitter about it. I don't care. It's still fun to think about it that way, because looking at these two teams going head-to-head, I already mentioned a little bit about the early kills, the early deaths for Unicorns of Love, but also both of these teams not really super concerned about early objective taking, right? When you look at the side of Pentanet.GG, this team has some good Baron usage. They have a high soul percent in terms of how often they're able to claim that objective. But early on, man, it's all about the action. It's all about setting yourself up with some kills, with some assists to get the game rolling.
Yeah, and for both of the teams in their home leagues, it has been more about the top triangle for both of them, whether that is concentrating on your top solo laner or your mid solo laner. Definitely expect a lot of action up there for the early stages. So that is naturally going to fall on the junglers, and I'm super excited to see what kind of early level 1 plans come out, because, in going back and especially looking at the Oceanic finals, it was funny because they took place one day, even even half a day right before our LCS finals, and we were so enthralled with the Cloud9 usage of the lane swap and the solo death Scion on their own side to counter jungle their own blue, basically, and get the triple quadrant start. Guess what? That's exactly what PentaNet did half a day to a day before in the Oceanic finals. Towards their game 3, they also had a Scion, death to their own side in blue buff, counter jungling their own side, doing the lane swap, coming out with these early plans. And Pabu specifically, I know they talked about in the last game, but he's always trying to theory craft, come up with, wacky jungle picks that can try and throw your opponents off. So I'm really excited to see if they already showed Fiddlesticks versus RNG, which is going to be the super difficult matches. What are they saving versus their matches versus unicorns? Because those are the ones that you really feel like you're making the most ground with. Yes, both these teams can always look for these upsets versus RNG, but I feel like the most sneaky and best strategies, surprises, should be saved for their matches versus each other.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, we're building this up. Should come out here in this game. Starting off with a bang, getting that first win could be huge for them.
I really want to see both of these teams just come out both barrels blazing, ready to go. We've been told that it should hopefully not be too much longer here on the delay. There were some issues with some settings that have to be changed around. This happens, international competition, a lot of different people, a lot of different settings. Maybe you want the map big, maybe you want the map small, maybe the language isn't the right thing. I don't know. My job is to talk fast, not get the settings correct. So hopefully we're going to be making this happen here soon, get ourselves into the game. I don't know. Was that something from Naruto? What is the hand signs and stuff?
They're preparing for any situation, okay? So, if some ninjas pop out on stage,
they're ready to go.
Pabu's going to be ready. Get off my keyboard.
All right, Pabu's going to be ready, man. Pabu, such a huge champion pool on this guy, too. I wrote down the stat because normally I'm not the guy who's coming out with the numbers all over the place, but this one in particular stood out to me. 12 unique champions across 23 games in this guy's champion pool. That is really wide champ pool that this guy plays, and especially with how we've skipped a few patches into the future from what we were playing on. Back in North America, we were even further behind most of the other regions in terms of which patch they were on. So things have been shaken up quite considerably, so I can't wait. As you already said, this dude broke out Fiddlesticks in the first game that he played here at MSI. What's he going to do for number 2?
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. That being said, on the other side too, champion pools, not a problem for the Unicorns of Love. 9 to 10 variation of champions for, jungle and solo laners for them. Definitely willing to flex to whatever the meta provides. And this is going to be one of the big focuses throughout this tournament and all international tournaments, especially when jumping ahead so many patches. Yes, what is going to emerge on day number 1, but how does it evolve as the tournament goes on, and how do these teams actually adapt, to the things that are very strong? Like we already just saw Morgana with the natural speed clear here, kind of taking over after they took down Hecarim. Guess what? Her clear is so fast, you're just naturally going to be steps ahead of a lot of these other junglers if they're not prepared. Same thing for Rumble, okay? And the reason why Rumble, everyone's been talking about Rumble so much, is he's still quite a formidable solo laner, but the specific changes that they did to Rumble, where they added percentage health damage to his overheat and extra attack speed without taking away, the same old turn and burn that you're used to seeing these Rumbles come down from top lane and roasting people at these dragon fights. Guess what? You can still roast people, but then you also have this, percentage max health damage, with helps with jungle camps and can help you, deal with frontline as well.
Yeah, Kobe, you play a lot of jungle. I play a lot of jungle. And 2 stats off the top of my head that almost every jungler is always happy to see more of: attack speed and percent HP damage. And when Rumble gets to have those on demand for just spamming his buttons, apply face to keyboard as quickly as possible to generate the attack speed and the percent health damage, he is a force to be reckoned with, prowling around looking for those ganks.
Yeah, there's some champions that just they do something funny to my brain when I start playing them in jungle. One of them is Rumble. Another one of them is Viego. Where it just I just feel so turbo agile aggro when I'm playing these champions, because Rumble, like you're saying, you go through, like, your Flame Spear does a lot of damage still, right? Your natural abilities do a lot of damage, so you're spamming them to build up your heat to get the extra bonuses. But then also when you get overheated, you're still able to power through stuff, so it feels like you're just always go here. It looks like we're approaching the go moment for this game. Same thing for Viego. Sad we're not going to see him because of all the possible bugs that exist with the champion, but I can't wait when Viego gets released from jail to start talking about some of these interactions. Let's get into it, though. We've made it, Flowers. We're into Champion Select.
Let's do it. The patient have been rewarded, and it's time for the draft. How is it going to shake out here? Pentanet GG versus the Unicorns of Love. We've got Lucian and Nocturne banned out here, as Udyr also still catches a ban this many patches later. This man was so forgotten, so left behind for so long, and now here in 2021, we just cannot kite far enough away from him.
Let them know they'll always remember the name of Udyr now. They were laughing at me all these years. Here we go, though, right into the rest of the bans. Some of the new players on the block. Everybody's been talking about solo lane Lee Sin. Solo lane Lee Sin's dominance has also caused, as I've been tracking so many of these players at their boot camps in solo queue in European West, has also caused a lot of the junglers to start playing Lee Sin again. And while I think it is better in the solo lanes, having the junglers, get their Lee Sin mechanics up in tip-top shape, also give those surprise opportunities to swap it into the jungle in order to get a specific solo lane matchup that you want to go for. So it is definitely a flex pick, although solo lane Lee Sin was probably going to be the king of the block. Varus here, so many AD carry players have been gushing about this champion, especially lethality Varus, and a lot of them have actually opted for the Prowler's Claw instead of the Dustblade because of the mythic passive. Getting 5 more lethality for every other legendary item that you build up really adds up in that lethality for Varus very quickly, even though it's kind of funny to see him with the Prowler's Claw active, rather than something like the Dustblade and the invisibility. It actually does do more damage, more effectiveness, because you just get the cooldown reduction with the other one. Moving right along, though, there you go. There's your bottom lane, Flowers.
Okay, Unicorns of Love. They see the Varus. They answer with a Kai'Sa Alistar of their own. Doesn't matter how many patches we have jumped forward, this remains a powerful combo down there.
It certainly does. The kill combination and the team fighting possibilities with Alistar and Kai'Sa. And the first thing this signals to you when you're going through your draft phase, if you lock this duo in on the bottom side, this is a dive possibility here for UOL. They have Alistar can go in, Kai'Sa can follow up on anything, so watch out for a dive composition here. And then when you're on the side of PGG and you're looking at your responses, what sort of disengage can you have, or what sort of close combat abilities? Guess what? Rumble, we've been talking about, very good with these, because if the enemy team is diving in, usually those are melee heavy champions. Rumble can roast them all. Great AoE available for him. All he needs is a little bit of structure. And since you have Varus, you've got some crowd control. Yes, you can use your ultimate offensively to look for picks and set up the barbecue roast looking for offensive utility there, but you can also use it defensively there, and when the enemy team tries to dive in on you, land your CC, Tahm Kench is able to save your carries, and you're able to kind of get this nice counter engage off.
Yeah, whenever you have Varus, you always like to see something along the lines of a Thresh, along the lines of a Tahm Kench, something to keep him safe. This champion has no dash, he has no invisibility, he has no disengage on his own. Having somebody to protect him is going to go a long way. The response to the other side, the Unicorns of Love are going to decide to answer bot lane and jungle with bot lane and jungle, and they'll lock in the Nidalee for themselves before the second part of the ban starts to come through, and we see the Victor and Renekton banned away.
And AHaHaCiK Nidalee, I'm incredibly excited here. This is one of the guys you do have confidence in playing this champion. Some teams, some junglers just never really get that prominence with Nidalee. But AHaHaCiK is so aggressive. He can use the quick clear speed, plus always looking for those invades, getting deep vision down on the enemy, and looking to combine with some CC in the mid lane for Nomanz. So you see already they're banning out some of these just more scaling and utility solo laners on the side of Unicorns of Love. Sion and Victor both taken away, and they're going to save their counter pick for Nomanz for that mid lane. That's where the big surprise can come from. Maybe some point-and-click CC to set up this Nidalee, because thus far, the Gnar on the top side doesn't really have that great synergy with Nidalee, so probably going to look for some action towards that mid lane. Meanwhile, we get another picture here of the Kindred. So the Rumble will be flexed into one of the solo lanes out of the jungle. This is one of the strong points that we mentioned for this champion. In addition to the buffs, you can still use it as a very strong solo laner there. Will be for the mid lane, and they actually pick up the Kindred here for Pabu in answer. Which is a very versatile AD carry, you know, from the jungle when you have frontline elsewhere in your draft. And that's why they combine it with BioPanther's Ornn. This is one of the guys that never stopped playing Ornn, okay? Everybody else kind of jumping off the train, you know, reaching out to the Renekton's, out to the Gnar all the time. But BioPanther's Ornn was so impressive for me during playoffs. He made such big team plays for them and really does provide that structure that we talk about Rumble wanting for the team fights. Plus your Kindred ultimate is that great counter dive we were talking about when you're looking over on the side of Unicorns of Love. They actually rounded out with just a very standard team comp. This Unicorns of Love team comp could be used in almost any meta that we've ever had. So, like the opening setup here from Sheepy and the Unicorns of Love, always on point with the style as well.
Yeah, this is one of those things with the Unicorns composition. You look at each individual champion. You look at the Gnar. You look at the Orianna. You look at that bottom lane combo with the Kai'Sa and the Alistar, and you say all of these look solid on their own. The question I have to pose now is how well do all the pieces come together? Because we always look at Nidalee and we always look at the setup like you were talking about earlier, saying, hey, Gnar, yeah, once he turns into the Mega Gnar, once he has access to the wallop, once he has the ulti too, you have some setup, but it's not quite the same as something like a Renekton that's just point and click, immediately ready to go every single time. Orianna's another champion that doesn't necessarily guarantee that good setup for the Nidalee. So what I'm looking for this game, a AHaHaCiK to have the accuracy. Dial them in. I don't want to see some Yanko spears. I want to see some AHaHaCiK spears. And I want to see them finding their way into the hearts of those Pentanet GG players. That's what I'm looking at here for this Nidalee. Over on the other side, Pabu, here on the Kindred. This is another one of those picks that, since the playoff patches that we've been used to watching, has received a couple of different buffs. So I want to see if Pabu's able to smurf it up here on this pick. Now, of course, oop, first spear misses. I thought that one was going to connect there for a second. I thought it was going to connect there for a second.
He's dialing in. You talking about dialing in the accuracy. You gotta throw out a couple of heat-seeking spears first to get your accuracy correct. In the first place, looks like, though, should have fairly standard starts here. Kindred, a lot of times, will start towards the red side because red buff Kindred provides you so much more early game power, and you can even threaten things like going for the super early skirmishes. But it actually looks like Pabu now heading out towards the blue side of the map, for his blue buff start, because his top lane is an Ornn into the Gnar, so he's not going to have a lot of priority on top side, and he wants to clear towards bottom half of the map. Even though Tahm, Kench, Varus doesn't have hard CC starting out at the early levels, the slow from the tongue from Tahm Kench is enough to really chase people down and have that threat. So Kindred going to be pathing down towards the bottom, trying to work off of some pushing power there. Varus, early levels, is a very strong laner, and he's just hoping that he's going to get a bottom spawn for the Scuttle Crab for the first mark. That's your ideal start for Kindred, for one of your pushing strong early lanes to be on the side where the mark actually spawns.
The good old Scuttle Crab coin flip for the Kindred players. We'll keep an eye on how that one shapes out, and we'll see specifically if either of these junglers has a better opportunity than the other once they find their way across to these opposite ends of the jungle once more, going through with the clears. You can see it looks like we're going for a full clear here from both players, both stopping off to the wolves before heading into their red quadrants. So everybody's going to be on about the same timers here, it appears.
Yeah, the thing is, until we have those jungle changes that have been kind of teased on Twitter and stuff by the balance team, you're going to highly prioritize full clears or close to full clears to get your camp cycling because the cooldown is so short on it, still the 2-minute respawn, and the value there that you lose is just not worth any sort of early variation in your pathing, especially because they reduced, the bonuses that you actually can get for experience for duo kills and stuff like that. So even with champions, like Kindred, going to want to try and go for close to full clears. And you can already see, playing off the pressure from bottom lane, they actually use it for an early recall here for Praedyth, pushing in that third wave and being able to move up into the river here. The River King is establishing river dominance for Pabu to make sure that they're going to be able to get the Scuttle Crab. They do lose the 50-50, so coin flip goes the way of the unicorns. AHaHaCiK will be happy to take away the mark and the Scuttle Crab there from Pabu. So, going to delay a little bit here, the Kindred mark stack up. Again, remember, 4 marks is so incredibly big for Kindred. Trying to get the first 4 ones for the range bonus really does establish a lot of the mid-game power of the champion. Off of this top lane Scuttle Crab as well, you just secure so much, pushing power there for the Gnar. You always want to try and harass the Ornn as much as you can. Bottom side, though, wrapping around for a possible, lane gank here right into the brush.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to find a lot of success with this. I feel like Pabu's probably just chilling here to make sure that their opponents don't try anything, and he'd be there for the counterplay instead. I mean, with Tahm, Kench, and Varus together, there's not a lot of early playmaking tools here between the two of them, so Pabu will head back to base, but it was AHaHaCiK who backed earlier, so he's out onto the map more quickly. He's already started on his second clear, and if we know anything about jungling and we know anything about Nidalee, Kobe, it's that this champion can run away with the tempo of the game, but down here in bottom side, nice little bit of trading going back and forth, and it's Praedyth who's hurt the most.
Yeah, and they also got the cooldown of the Devour out, which is very long in the early levels. They've got defensive vision available to them, though, so a little bit of sneaky maneuver there from AHaHaCiK, using the hop there from Nidalee to try and get around some of the early wards. Decides not to progress with it, though. Again, we mentioned wanting to keep your camp cycling here, and can't actually just give up the opportunity cost. You lose out on too much golden experience if you're fishing around there. Going for a tower dive early on a Tahm, Kench, Varus, with all the summoners being available, very, very difficult there, without a lot of health advantage, and just returns to the clear towards this top side of the map.
And you could see there as the camera was hovering over mid, it's Chazz who has total control over that lane, keeping the wave shoved up. Nomanz forced to farm underneath turret. You can look at his health and mana bars on the side of your screen right now. He's still got that TP ready to go, and he decides to go back to base and then use that immediately. A good choice because he was completely without any presence in the lane whatsoever. Totally out of mana, totally out of health. Now he's back in here. Now he's ready to go. And Chazz won't find any meaningful damage on him before he goes back. That's often something you see players try to do. If they know that they already got their opponent's TP out of the way, they'll try to stick around, get a little bit of damage before they go back and then TP back in themselves. But hey, it didn't work out here this time, and there's another TP, but looks like we might see him. Are they switching up? No, they're not switching up. I thought we might get something cheeky there for a second.
Yeah, one of the things about the draft here is Unicorns being on red side, they're able to hold their counter pick for Nomanz for so long, it has to be revealed. The swap from Rumble isn't that big of a surprise because Nomanz is able to wait it out for the final pick. The Orianna, and Orianna to Rumble is extremely good. Allows the Orianna, with the extra safety of the range, you can just scale up. The attempted kidnapping on the Scuttle Crab here by Tahm, Kench.
I like the try.
Is short-lived, but does delay and does pull the rest of the team down further towards bottom side, allowing Pabu to at least move in, clear out a ward.
I like the fact that he went for it. Yes, they didn't have the manpower to secure the thing, but just doing that, I love to see it. Back down here on the bottom side, Praedyth will clear out these minions. Lodik will start to channel the recall, but then has to step back as his opponents once again are going to continue trying to apply that pressure. But talking about pressure, Kobe, it's Pabu in the enemy jungle looking to take away here with this blue buff. We'll see if he can secure that one. It's losing patience rather rapidly. He doesn't want to have to fall back any further. There he goes. Gets it right as AHaHaCiK just sees it on the very edge of his vision, and he'll back away. Pabu, though, still level 5 compared to the level 6 of his opponent.
Yeah, Nidalee, AHaHaCiK's greater focus on clearing on his camps has been able to get the extra level lead. But that blue buff steal was basically afforded by Chazz. Rumble had pushed up on mid and had the early route towards the inside. Shockwave does land.
Oh, AHaHaCiK going in. Pabu taken low. 150 HP left on him. Spear comes out over the wall, won't find a target. They didn't know the Nidalee was there, and they almost found themselves in a real bad spot.
Yeah, AHaHaCiK ready to punish them. I mean, they wanted to even just tank the Shockwave and keep on chasing through with Tahm Kench behind them. AHaHaCiK's able to fend them off with the spear, but he actually is able to answer with his blue buff steal here because of the spear, chunking down the health. Pabu, though, is up to the level 6, so has Kindred ultimate available, can buy a lot of time. That being said, should be able to finish off the Gromp as well. Execution damage there for AHaHaCiK, and keeps up the experience advantage that he has. Plus, able to push out on both solo lanes here. With Boss here on this Gnar, continually trying to harass the Ornn back and away, allows AHaHaCiK to just start up this Rift Herald. And that is what we were talking about in Champ Select, the top triangle focus for Unicorns of Love. Rift Herald is so big of an objective if you don't have to spend bottom resources to get it. One of the biggest problems we've seen is teams committing entire bottom lanes, losing waves, losing tower plates down bottom in order to get this Rift Herald. But if your jungle and top triangle don't have to sacrifice anything to get it, all of a sudden, you get a ton of pressure.
Oh, and talking about pressure, here we go! Unicorns of Love with the first blood.
Slams him into the wall there. I mean, Gnar and Nidalee, it's not super easy to combine, for those stuns, for the guaranteed Nidalee spears, but Boss lines him up right on the tower, and BioPanther stunned in place, can't dodge the spear. Easy execution there from AHaHaCiK, and they already had the Rift Herald, so even though they trade off the first dragon here to Pentanet, they actually get so much money. This is just going to balloon the gold lead for Unicorns of Love. Top kill.
That's a whole damn turret.
The entire turret. It's the benefit of getting that Rift Herald. You can just execute those last turret plates, even with all the extra armor and magic resistance on it. True damage comes through from the Rift Herald. So the last two turret plates go down. Perfect timing here. And it just gives you such an enormous lead.
Yeah, I was looking at the gold when the junglers were skirmishing over the Gromp and the blue and all that stuff before the first blood happened. It was about a 300 lead for the Unicorns. Now it's 2,500 after the first blood value, after 5 turret plates and first turret bonus. Kobe, if that's me, I'm happy to trade the first Drake of the game for that every single day of the week.
Yeah, not many junglers would rather have the single dragon buff for their team unless their team is specifically built for early game dominance to stack these dragons and work to that soul. Having afforded this giant gold lead makes it so that even though you get the early dragon, the Unicorns of Love, they've already got top dominance there with the tower down. They can push that lane out. They have so much gold that they can then fight you off of attempting to get any value out of stacking dragons. And it makes it so difficult to continue on with the later Drakes because you're fighting into completed mythic items. Look at the inventory right now. Mythics are so big in this game. Already Stridebreaker, already the Night Harvester there for Boss, for AHaHaCiK. These guys come to town.
Look at the money.
They are gonna slap, okay? Gnar with Stridebreaker having an extra dash in the kit is insane. We've seen it all split long in spring with Flash, with Teleport available, with the Stridebreaker, and all the money from the top side, Rift Herald and kill play that they were able to pull off. Those two can destroy team fights, even on the other side of the map here for Unicorns.
Yeah, these two are the ones that are primed and ready to go, but also worth pointing out, look at the farm there in mid lane. It's Nomanz who's 10 ahead of anybody else here in the game. And remember, Nomanz is not somebody to be easily forgotten. This is the highest damage per minute player in the entirety of the LCL. Nomanz is 10 ahead. This is the guy who doesn't care.
All right, we're gonna have some issues with your microphone, Flower, so I'm gonna go solo here, and we're gonna have a fight. right. All right. They're going to fend him off with the spear, though. 50% HP there from AHaHaCiK. Actually just nails Pabu in the face and deters any action. Thank goodness. All right. I don't have to talk too fast then. Unicorns can continue to stabilize down here. You see AHaHaCiK actually wrapping around for another possible aggressive play, but the vision from PGG allows them to pull off once again. It is the defensive support there with the Tahm Kench able to save them from any extra aggression. And Pentanet, their hope is to scale. If you can continue to keep it even here, push out the waves, and then get to your team fight phase, remember about all of the setup and synergy between these champions, for the possible second dragon fight. Ornn ultimate, BioPanther's been really good at joining the teams, setting up these team fights. That thing, if you're able to layer it on and time it perfectly with your Rumble ultimate and layer Varus on top of it, can even overcome some of these big gold deficits that you're having to fight your way out of. So their strength is gonna have to be in grouping up and finding that coordination and hoping for the big roast from Chazz. He's closing in on that level 11, so the extra rank there in Rumble Ultimate goes a long way. Minute and 20 seconds left on this dragon. You can ping me whenever you've got your mic issues sorted out, Flowers, and we'll get you right back in here for the action. Until then, we're gonna check in on Unicorn's continued aggression. Boss wants to use his ultimate right before he turns back into Mini, and he deletes Pabu off the face of Summoner's Rift. Oh my God, what a combo there for him. Boss, you thought he was ahead already. Stride breakers in as the Mega Gnar is turning off. He gets to finish it, uses it. Boulder just blows Pabu up. No chance to flash, no chance to pop his Kindred ultimate. And Boss just does it better. Oh my goodness. All right, well, that was fun. Nice little play-by-play initiation here. Teleport gonna get right back out here on the screen for Nomanz. You just gotta brush that one off if you're Pabu. Honestly, that was brutal. Look at this. Okay, Boss is closing in. Never mind, right back to live. Chazz is dying. Looks like it's going to be an escape for him here. Flowers, you're counting in my ears at the moment. Chazz, though, only 100 HP left there. Nomanz can't finish it, even though it's a good individual play from him. Team difference comes in. BioPanther and the rest of Pentanet trying to converge. They want to make use of that synergy. Here, let's see if they can actually do it. They have no Ornn ultimate available, though, so the team fight gets really dicey. Shockwave is also down on the side of Unicorn, so maybe Pabu steals. No, he does not. He's going to have to jump back out. No harm, no foul there. Does get hit by the spear, though. He's going to have to get off on the edge, and they finish it. Boss, once again, jumps right in, gets the stun against the wall. Even with the exhaust, they chase him through their own jungle here. Santos actually headbutts him to safety, and even with just losing Pabu there, and it's an exchange as PGG get 1-for-1. Nomanz going down. No Shockwave really did hurt Unicorns. They get the dragon, though. They stop that PGG stacking that we're talking about. The extra gold coming in big and trying to shove them off. Pabu actually bought a lot of time there with the ultimate and tried to delay, but definitely goal accomplished here for Unicorns of Love. Here's another look at it. They're focused on the dragon. Boss is trying to run interference on the rest of the team. And even though Pabu attempts to go for this steal here, he takes a spear on the way out. And that spear marks him for death. Boss does it again. Gets right in there. They just squash Pabu. In the meantime, though, you see on the right side of your screen, Rumble Ultimate, no joke there. Roast down Nomanz. And without the Shockwave, didn't have as much teamfight control as we will see later on in the game for Unicorns. So good, at least trade there for getting 1 kill for PGG. It's going to be a drop in the bucket as far as the gold, though. And now that the dragons are split as well, there's not an advantage that PGG can try and have as a crutch, building up towards the mid stages of the game. Let's see if they can actually recover from this, and if Flowers can fix up the microphone there. I heard a little bit of an update. Not a sec, though. Red Smite does go down. Jumps off. Rumble Ultimate gets him to 50% HP, and he is out of there. Nomanz has him with the extra speed up here on Orianna. You can see this is all taking place while Unicorns are splitting. So they're getting extra money for pushing both side lanes out. Kai'Sa on the top side. Extra levels in her go a very long way, approaching that level 11 for Lodik, so he can follow up on some of these plays. Oh, thank God. Welcome, my friend.
Okay, I don't think I'm a Terminator anymore. If I am, we're just going to have to fix it again. But for now, we are back, and we're still in a game with about a 3,000 gold deficit. Let's do it. Kobe, you are hereby officially relieved of play-by-play duties. I'm sorry. Take a drink of water, buddy. You deserve it. After talking nonstop for what feels like an eternity now, I'm just sitting here on the sideline, chomping at the bit, ready to go. All right. We got ourselves, ooh, okay. As soon as I get back into the game, we got the chains of corruption flying out there, just barely not finding the target. I like the fact that they're going for it, though, but here in the side lane, man, it's still just Boss's world.
It is Boss's world. He is aptly named right now. Boss of Summoner's Rift has been the story so far. Huge individual plays from him, targeting Pabu over and over. And we haven't even had to see one of the big counters, which is usually, oh, Gnar can then sweep the team off of the Kindred ultimate. You know why? Because Boss has just swept Kindred off of the entire map here. He's just 100%ing Pabu whenever he gets over there. But again, they do have multiple displacements on the side of Unicorns. The Alistar, the Orianna, the Gnar, all these things that can cause a problem for later usages of Kindred ultimate. Since we're focused so much on play, we didn't get to touch on it earlier in the match, but that is going to be another problem for Pentanet and Pabu to try and deal with as they move forward. Again, though, yes, they are behind. Yes, they are underdogs, coming into this. They've got to try and focus on that team synergy. BioPanther is at the crux of it. So he holds his ultimate here. He flashes out of the possible combo and chase down here from Boss. If they have their ultimates, though, that is their big hope. Trying to get some lineup here. If you're able to snare Nomanz / Lodik, maybe both in an optimal world, and layer that Rumble ultimate and the ultimate there from Ornn, maybe they can make a big play at one of these team fights. If you win the team fight, get right back into it. 50 seconds left on this dragon. I expect Unicorns to have a much better setup because they have so much more control. They can try and push into the river first, and it makes it very difficult. If an Orianna pushes into the river first and gets to push the ball back and forth, denying you some of these entry points into it, then it gets really difficult. But PGG, good setup from them. Pentanet, they are there first, into the river. Control wards are down, trying to zone, trying to make the most of this Rumble ultimate. Can they catch Unicorns in one of these small corridors? If you head them off in the jungle as they're approaching, it's so much easier to try and get one of those godlike comeback ultimates.
Unicorns of Love just seem to be happy to march it down mid right now. If PGG want to control the Drake pit, they're going to control the tier 2 turret. Demolish ticking down. There's the proc on that. BioPanther decides it's time to fight. Equalizer comes down. Nomanz and Lodik separated from the rest of the team, but honestly, Kobe, both the Ornn ulti and the Rumble ulti used for only 40% HP on 2 players? That is not enough.
You know what that signals to me, Flowers?
That's a green light for the dragon if you're UOL.
Yep, those ultimates were PGG waving bye to that dragon. That dragon is gone, long gone. Maybe they're a little bit scared about fighting the fight in the first place, and they want to put it off until the 3rd Drake, which is a possibility if they can continue to try and scale evenly. But the problem is that it's actually difficult for them to stay even. Because they've lost, outer towers so early on in top and mid, you lose out on your blue quadrant jungle camps very frequently. So Nidalee is well positioned to go counter jungle a lot, and the gold lead that Unicorns have can be a problem that's just exacerbated by delaying to the next dragon. You see them finishing up on the last outer turret here now. They may even have a more solid setup, more solid lead when moving forward here. But PGG looking for a pick. They've got to get something going for themselves. Flash is used in an attempt.
Okay, Nomanz puts a little bit of damage back into Chazz here. He's still pretty low on mana. And with that last bit of damage flying over the wall, Nomanz probably doesn't want to stick around here too much longer.
Very
As
nice.
Santa's here.
Oh.
Okay, no. We're not quite going to get that here just yet. I feel like we probably would have seen the camera shift to the right. You got to learn how to read the observers.
Some tells.
Yeah. We're using some context clues.
Yeah. The future hacks there. Honestly, though, the execution damage on Varus, when they buff that.
Thank you, observer.
Your little tap there. Now they're trying to bait, that now that you've signaled your tricks, it can be in your head.
They know that I'm trying to expose the secret techniques, so they're going to make sure that they clown on me a little bit now, but that's okay. That's okay. We got the Unicorns of Love defending underneath the Tier 1 turret up here right now. Praedyth and Decoy trying to get whatever damage they can into the last remaining part of the health bar here. Still 0 turrets taken by PentaNet so far. They really want to pick up some of this standing gold and start to close that gap.
Yeah, I mean, it's we can count all of the issues that they have because we've been trying to look for their comeback play, but without being able to save their ultimates and make a big ultimate push for one of these 5-on-5 fights, which is the only way you can actually gain ground back into this game. They're going to have so many issues to deal with. Okay, Gnar, we've been talking about boss forever. He's a big problem, obviously. We'll push in any side lane uncontested. They cannot deal with him, but we haven't even been focusing on Nomanz. This man is smashing here, racking up the CS.
Yeah.
He's even been pushing out to the side lanes. 200 and almost 40 CS for him.
Plus 50 over his opponent.
At 22.5 minutes here, okay? Nomanz is absolutely steamrolling ahead here, just printing money, being able to pick up side lanes. This is not off of kills or anything right here for him. Here comes the Ornn ultimate. There's another attempt, but again, the Ornn ultimate and the Rumble ultimate both used in an attempt for a pick and gets nothing. It's just sidestepped here. So now you've got a long duration, another minute and a half that PGG basically have to wait or have to get some mistake out of Unicorns to make a comeback.
Well, Santa's going in here playing pretty aggressively, decides to step back, doesn't want anything else to do there with that fight, doesn't have to use the ulti to get away. But I really did like Noman's little sidestep there when they tried to engage on him with the ultis in the jungle, just recognized that the hitbox wasn't quite wide enough on that Ornn ulti, so he just walked to the left. No big deal.
Walk to the left, walk to the right. He's doing his camera jutsu as well. He's learned from you by taking advantage here. Number 1 step is don't stand in fire. Okay, got that.
Okay, all right, that's pretty easy.
Number 2, dodge the giant ram that's coming at you.
Yeah.
And Orianna.
Also a fire ram.
A fire ram as well.
The ram is made of the fire that you tried to dodge already, so it's just double fire. You don't want to get fired. Pretty easy stuff here. But we still have ourselves, Kobe, a 5,000 gold difference between these teams. It's exactly as you said a couple of minutes ago when we were watching Boss knock down that Tier 1 turret in the bottom lane. These gold advantages keep building and keep building. And if the strategy is to stall out for a better fighting spot, I'm not a League of Legends expert. I peaked at Diamond 1, but I'm pretty sure that we don't want to keep waiting until we're 15,000 gold behind.
Yeah, I mean, even though they do have Ornn item upgrades that will be coming in now, it's still very difficult for them. You know, because Pabu, oh, here we go again.
Oh boy, that spear did not feel good. And now they're just waiting around. Pabu has to flash over the wall just to stay alive, and Chazz is having a bad time in mid lane. Boss just chasing him down there, doesn't want to go any further. Chazz at about 1/3 HP, 40 seconds to go till that Drake is live.
I was gonna say, normally some of the team fight scaling that you want to rely on towards the mid game here with this composition is that your Kindred carries a lot of the DPS burden there, because Varus is going lethality. You are huge poke damage. And actually getting the Muramana transform, I just think this item is so turbo broken right now.
It's so strong.
It's very, very big for him, but they get engaged on again.
Okay, Santos is coming in. He's ready to go. He's ready to tank. Nice two-man shockwave into the double kill for Lodik, and they are off to the races, baby. The Unicorns of Love. They're ready to go.
Oh, they've been going all match long, too. And guess what's next, Flowers? The Baron is on the menu. Bottom lane down here for PGG. All they can do is pray for some sort of miracle, because the Unicorns of Love are going to slam this one down. They give up the dragon. This is only number 2 for PGG, so no problem here. With the Baron buff, they will be able to crash inside the PGG base. This is going to be the moment of truth for PentaNet. Can they hold their ultimates for the perfect combination while defending at one of these inhibitor towers? Because that's where Unicorns will be marching incredibly quickly here. They only went for a couple of resets there. Everybody else pushing out onto the map. You can see AHaHaCiK still continuing to deny these jungle camps, continuing to widen the gold gap here for Unicorns before even joining the rest of the team to finish up this siege. Here's another look at it from the perspective of PGG. As they walk down mid lane, Santos with a beautiful flank here. He's hiding up on the top side. This is the advantage of having such strong vision control. Alistar right into the middle, zones them off right as he gets spit out from the Tahm Kench. It's perfect timing on the shockwave, and bye-bye Varus.
Yeah, that Axe Effect replay did a good job of showing just how quickly they both disappeared. Looked like about half HP left on Varus, and then poof, no HP left on Varus. Not really the best experience for an AD carry, but that's the life sometimes, as Unicorns of Love sets up what looks to be a 3-2 double-pronged attack here with Boss and Nomanz in the bottom lane, everybody else hanging around in mid, getting those waves shoved up, wanting to apply pressure to multiple locations at once. AHaHaCiK will keep throwing those spears over the wall, trying to land any amount of poke at all. Everything adds up over time, my friend. Those spears keep on flying, those minions keep on dying, and the turrets will remain under pressure.
All right, knock knock flowers, it's the Unicorns of Love at your front door. And guess what? They've baroned up these minions. Bottom tower's already down to 20% HP. They can just ping pong between the two minion waves. They have not been able to sync them up because it is actually kind of difficult at this stage of the game since they push so quickly through the mid lane automatically. And the delay there, they're actually just going to want to finish off this bottom tower. Santas, once again, positioning for possible flank play. He's got Hex Flash available, and Pabu sticks his head out and gets chopped off!
Pabu is just dead immediately. Really good game sense there to go after him, and now they're going to be going straight in for the team fight. Turret's already down. Make it 1, make it 2, make it 3! Unicorns of Love are mopping up everybody, and they are going to make sure this thing is squeaky clean. Bottom lane inhibitor is gone. Teleport is coming in. Do they want to stick around any longer? They have 15 seconds until Pabu is back alive. Holy cow, Nomanz! Saying no man is going to be left alive after this. You got Chazz running away, the turrets are falling apart, and the Unicorns of Love will find their first win here at MSI 2021.
And holy moly, what a stamp right there from Unicorns. They put their stamp on this group right now. It's going to be an uphill battle for PGG. Opening day here for them, 0-2, and this is only a 3-team group, so they've lost to both competitors. Very, very difficult. They're gonna have to regroup, take some time, focus on some new strategies here to pull out at MSI. I know they were fighting an uphill battle from the very beginning,
Right.
you know, with Oceania, merging with North America, losing a lot of the players in the region, but this team has definitely had an upbeat attitude and has been looking forward to it. So, you know, hopefully we can see a resurgence for them. On the other side, though, man, I'm excited for Unicorns of Love. Dominating, a well-deserved win there. Huge, huge plays from Boss. Very, very big plays from Santas as well. Nice flanks from him. Alistar controlling these team fights extremely well, and you like to see that level of execution coming out. Day one from the Unicorns of Love. They have been one of the most consistent organizations appearing at international events throughout the history of League of Legends, and they continue it here today.
Really, really good start here for the Unicorns of Love. You love to see a team come out in their first game and just absolutely go to town, have a great time, and look like everybody is on the same page. But now it is time for us to throw to a break. And once we get back, of course, our next game coming up is going to be a classic here at international competition as we have our representatives from the TCL and the CBLOL face off. You don't want to miss it.
The magical power of the realm is a mystery. Like a guardian, it is with you always. Defending you, charging you, watching over you like... Actually, it's not magic. It's this Cisco network. The power behind every gank, every combo, every mind-blowing moment at League of Legends Esports, MSI 2021.
Welcome back, everyone, to the State Farm Analyst Desk, and in just a few minutes, we will get the next chapter in the historic TCL versus CBLOL rivalry as fast-paced Wildcats take on the iconic Pain Gaming. One of my favorite parts of international tournaments is the fact that we can see teams like teams from the TCL and the CBLOL play against each other because they have such amazing fan bases and such amazing rivalries with each other.
Yeah, they certainly do. There is a bit of a long-standing history between these two regions in particular, and Turkey has traditionally gone the better of Brazil overall. True. That's usually how things play out in the group stages. We've seen teams like 1907 Fenerbahce Esport qualify for group stages. We've also seen teams like Supermassive make names in MSI as well. And I think that these are many names that have also gotten in the way of teams from Brazil and kind of stopped them from having the opportunity in the spotlight. That's
true. Now we see a lot of new faces coming into MSI. The Wildcats are in their first ever international tournament. They are a new TCL champion. And we see one very established name here, Holy Phoenix, on that lineup, but surrounded by newer names. And as I was talking to Ton Maliki, who is a journalist and a former TCL caster, he said, we have kind of a rebuilding phase going on here in the TCL. A lot of teams are electing to field younger players, rookies, and that makes him think that they might not be as good immediately. But on the other hand, Wadid, it's always exciting to see newer players and rookies combined with veterans. That usually can give a really good mix.
Yes, especially from Farad, like he's a high tempo, high early aggression jungler. So like, as you said, with veteran, rookies can actually grow up really fast. So that's why, even though maybe they cannot win this MSI, but it's really important and it can be really good experience for rookie players.
I think one of the other great things for these players is they've got nothing to lose. You know, they are now going into the international stage where they can just take gambles, they can take risks, they can play their style in the hopes of hopefully learning new opportunities and new things to help elevate their play. And alongside a player like Holy Phoenix, who has been working for a very long time to get this opportunity, given that his last Worlds appearance was back in 2014. Yeah. He's been wanting to get his name back on the international stage. And now he's here with these young players, but he's going to go up against some staples from the Brazilian scene.
Yeah, it's quite the other story when you look across to the CBLOL champions, Pain Gaming, a historic organization with bringing BRTT back to MSI. And there you have a lineup of 4 CBLOL champions and 1 player who is new to the stage and especially to the international stage, a jungler, Kai'Sa. So we find kind of a similar mix, but it's the other way around. And Wadid, when you look at this lineup and you see BRTT, that immediately gives you memories from the glory days of the Brazilian international performances.
Oh yeah, man, this guy never dies, man. Like maybe in 10 years, I don't know. He always plays good. He always bring a CBLOL to the international league. He's a legend, you know. He's living legend. So this time around, I really want to see his Draven, you know, like Kai'Sa and like Xayah, those kind of mid-late game champions are meta, so maybe he can bring us some spiciness into the bot lane.
Maybe he can indeed. I was talking to CBLOL caster Shapey, and he was saying how the fans in Brazil, they expect the Pain Gaming team, because they have so many legends on their team and CBLOL champions, to get back to those glory days. Because we remember Kaboom, we remember INTZ, but really it was Pain that did the crazy things over and over by beating CLG at Worlds and whatnot in 2015. And the fans are hoping that this Pain Gaming can bring that all back. But they have to win this first game versus the Wildcats. Talk to me about this game, and who do you think has the edge?
Well, I think that they actually have very similar playstyles. I think that both junglers are hyper-aggressive in the early game. I think that it's the same for a lot of these emerging regions, where a lot of their dominance tends to come from the jungle, fast-paced playmaking, snowballing their lanes. I think one of the biggest differences is that when we look at how Brazil play, a lot more resources get funneled into BRTT to set him up to be one of the big damage dealers. And when he gets those resources, he really does run away with the game. And you can see some of the numbers. You can see in the early game, 3.1 kills plus assists at 15. Like, that is where a lot more of the action happens. That is where a lot more of the investment happens. Slightly less for Holy Phoenix, but hang on, I've actually confused the other waves around. What? My normal expectations is that BRTT is one that normally gets the higher investment in terms of early game kills. But it seems that Holy Phoenix is actually just popping off in the 2 versus 2.
Yeah, it seems that someone didn't check his notes beforehand. But listen, there's been 6 games today, so that's a lot of numbers to take in. What we do know is that these are 2 phenomenal players that are going to face off on the wrist. So we already said TCL versus CBLOL historically has been always something to look out for, if not because how excited the fan bases are. Wadid, who would you give it to in this instance?
Oh man, I mean, for me, I like Brazil stories more because I mean, just like I'm a big fan of BRTT, you know. So like I just want to see him popping off like my big daddy, you know.
We'll see indeed what happens. This regional matchup has a lot of history, elevated by 2 of the most passionate fan bases in League of Legends. Let's see who celebrates on day 1 when we return.